I'm a 38-year-old warehouse supervisor at Carter Logistics, pulling 6-day weeks to afford my 3-bedroom fixer-upper in Riverton, Ohio. I bought the place 4 years ago, a modest brick house in a quiet neighborhood, nothing flashy, but every brick is mine. My routine? Up at 4:30 a.m., home by 9 p.m., nuka burrito, catch some ESPN, then sleep. Weekends are for chores and recovery. No time for drama. Or so I thought until 3 weeks ago, when my life turned into a real-life horror movie. It started with odd noises. Creaks I chalked up to the old house settling. A faint thump at night, maybe a raccoon in the attic. Then, weirder stuff. A cabinet clicking shut while I brushed my teeth, my TV remote on the wrong couch cushion. I told myself I was just burned out from work. But one Wednesday night in June, I jolted awake to my microwave beeping at 11:45 p.m. Nobody should be in my kitchen. As a black man living alone, calling 911 wasn't my first move. Too many stories of cops misreading the situation. Instead, I grabbed my bat and crept downstairs. The kitchen was dark, but the microwave door hung open, and the air smelled faintly of burnt popcorn. I checked every room, living room, spare bedroom, bathroom, all empty. Then I noticed the basement door's deadbolt was undone. I always lock it. The basement's just storage and a rusty washer. Pulse racing, I flicked on the light and eased the door open. "Who's there?" I called. No answer. Bat raised, I descended. What I saw stopped me cold. My dusty, spiderweb-choked basement was a makeshift apartment. An air mattress with crisp blankets sat in one corner, next to a card table holding a lamp, a dog-eared novel, and a photo frame. A clothing rack displayed women's outfits, blouses, jeans, a jacket. 2 duffels were stuffed under it. Near the washer, a mini microwave, not mine, was plugged in, and a plastic crate held shampoo and toothpaste. Someone had moved into my house. Before I could process it, the basement bathroom door swung open. A white woman, maybe 50, with short blonde hair, stepped out in yoga pants and a faded tee, drying her hands. She froze, then screamed, "What are you doing in my house?" I gripped the bat tighter. "Your house?" "I'm Marcus Thompson. This is my house." "Who the hell are you?" Her eyes narrowed, fear shifting to defiance. "I'm Linda Carver, and I've been renting this basement for a month." "You're trespassing." I blinked, dumbfounded. "Renting? From who?" "I own this place, bought it 4 years ago." "Nobody's renting anything." She crossed her arms, smug. "From the landlord, obviously. I don't know what scam you're pulling, but I paid to live here. Leave, or I'm calling the cops." My jaw dropped. She was squatting in my basement and threatening me? "Show me this lease," I demanded. She smirked, grabbing a folder from her table and waving a document. "Signed by Gerald Hawkins, the owner." "There's no Gerald Hawkins," I shouted. "That's fake, and you're leaving now." Her smirk vanished. "I'm calling 911. She snatched her phone and dialed, voice trembling, for the dispatcher. "There's a man in my apartment with a bat, threatening me." I'm terrified. I yelled, "That's a lie. I'm Marcus Thompson. I own 1423 Willow Lane." "She's trespassing." The dispatcher asked for the address, and Linda confirmed it, adding, "He's getting violent. Please hurry." I lowered the bat, setting it down to show I wasn't a threat. This is insane. I'm grabbing my deed. I raced upstairs, yanked my filing cabinet open, and grabbed my mortgage papers, deed, and tax records, all in my name. Back in the basement, Linda sat on her air mattress, fake crying into her phone. "Here's proof I own this house," I said, holding up the documents. She barely glanced. "Those could be forged. My lease is real." Cops banged on the door minutes later. 2 officers, a grizzled white guy, Officer Daniels, and a young black woman, Officer Reed, stormed downstairs, hands on holsters. "What's happening?" Daniels barked. Linda wailed. "He broke in and threatened me. I've lived here a month." I stayed calm, hands visible. "I'm Marcus Thompson. This is my house. I found her living here tonight without permission. My ID and deed are on the table." Reed checked my driver's license, address matching, and skimmed my documents. Daniels eyed Linda's lease, which looked legit at a glance. Letterhead, signatures. "She claims she rented from a Gerald Hawkins," Daniels said. "There's no Hawkins," I insisted. "I can prove this as my house, family photos upstairs, my mail, renovation receipts." Linda jumped in. "Gerald said he was traveling for work and rented me the basement. I paid cash." I snapped. There's no separate basement entrance. You've been sneaking through my house. Reed raised an eyebrow, turning to Linda. How'd you access the basement? Linda stammered. Gerald gave me a key to the back door. Daniel sighed. Let's see upstairs. I led them through my house, pointing out my clothes, photos, and framed closing papers. Linda trailed, claiming, Gerald must have rented the main house separately. I lost it. Call the county records. The deed's in my name. Daniels cut me off. We can't settle ownership tonight. Mr. Thompson's ID and papers check out, but MS. Carver has a lease. This is a civil matter for court. My heart sank. So she stays here? No, Reed said firmly. Without utility bills or mail proving residency, MS. Carver can't stay tonight. She'll need a court order. Linda exploded. You're siding with him because he's a man. Her eyes screamed what she wouldn't say, race. Daniel shut her down. Pack an overnight bag, ma'am. You can return with a judge's ruling. Linda stomped downstairs, muttering about lawsuits. As she passed me with her duffel, she hissed, This isn't over. I've been here long enough for squatters' rights. Chills ran through me. The cops escorted her out, and I collapsed on my couch, head spinning. How had she gotten in? How long had she been here? What else had she done? I scoured the basement. Her setup was meticulous. The photo frame showed her with a younger man, maybe a son, at a beach. A notebook caught my eye. I hesitated, then opened it. The first entry, dated a month ago, read, Found a gem on Willow Lane. Black guy, single, works crazy hours. Gerald scoped it while he was gone. Owner's clueless, no cameras. Basement's perfect laundry, bath, separate breaker for my stuff. I'll be invisible till we cash out. My blood boiled. Day 7, almost busted today. Grabbed food upstairs, but he came home early. Hid in the pantry till he went to bed. Day 14, used his shower basement once a week. Took his fancy soap. He's oblivious. The last entry, 2 days ago, Gerald says we move next week. Establish residency, then demand payout to leave. This place is worth 15 to 20K. Owner's softful fold. This was no desperate squatter. This was a scam targeting me because I'm black, alone, and overworked. A folder in her duffel held my utility bill, my work schedule, and notes on my routine. Fake leases for other addresses were there too. Some marked, aborted cameras installed. I photographed everything, called a 24-hour locksmith, and changed every lock by 4 a.m. Upstairs, I found missing snacks, a used towel I didn't recognize, and my favorite hoodie gone. She'd been all over my house. I called in sick, then hired a security firm for cameras inside and out. A coworker recommended a lawyer, Karen Patel, who met me that morning. I showed her the journal, leases, and folder. This is a sophisticated scheme, Patel said. Good news, she has no legal claim. Bad news, squatters' rights are tricky, and they know how to game the system. We'll file a restraining order for stalking and a trespassing complaint with all this evidence. As I left her office, my phone rang. Marcus Thompson? This is Gerald Hawkins. My stomach dropped. We need to discuss my tenant, Linda Carver. I gripped the phone. There's no tenant. You're running a scam, and I've got proof. The police know. He laughed. It's not that simple. Linda's been there a month. Squatters' rights. Pay us $25,000, and we're gone. Otherwise, we drag this out in court, claim you agreed to rent, and cost you more in fees. The call ended. I ran back to Patel, furious. Next morning, Patel called. Linda filed for tenant rights, claiming a verbal rental agreement. Hearings tomorrow. I was floored. She's lying. Patel agreed, but warned. Her lawyers claiming your restraining order is a dodge to evict her. They're good at this. I spent the day cataloging Linda's stuff, finding a coffee shop receipt from Brewhaven, dated last week, noting a meeting with Gerald about the Thompson job. Brewhaven was nearby, and today was the same day of the week. I had a hunch. I drove to Brewhaven, sat in a corner, and waited. At 1 p.m., Linda walked in, dressed sharply, not the frumpy squatter from my basement. She sat, checking her phone. A slick guy in his 60s gray hair, tailored jacket joined her, carrying a briefcase. I snapped photos and a video as they pored over papers. They left after 20 minutes, and I tailed them to the lot, photographing their car's plates. A Lexus for him, a Toyota for her. I sent everything to Patel. Great work, Marcus, she said. But don't play detective again. It's risky. That afternoon, a sheriff delivered a court order granting Linda temporary basement access until the hearing. She smirked from his car. He and Hange copied it before leaving. Patel urged compliance, but to record everything. Linda moved back in, glaring. Should have paid Gerald's $25,000. Now it'll be $40,000. I pointed to the cameras. Everything's recorded. She laughed. Footage disappears. That night, I barely slept, hearing her roam my house. At 2 a.m., a text from an unknown number. Last chance. $40,000 by 8 a.m., or we own you. Attached was a photo of me asleep in bed, taken weeks ago. They'd been in my room. I forwarded it to Patel and gripped my bat till dawn. At the courthouse, Patel was ready. That text is gold harassment and proof they were in your bedroom. The Lexus plate traced to Gerald Mercer, a known fraudster. In court, Linda played the victim, claiming I rented her the basement via a friend. Her lawyer, Diane Voss, produced 2 witnesses, a delivery guy and a neighbor who'd seen her around. Patel shredded their credibility, showing they never saw us together. I testified about finding Linda, her lies, and the threats. Patel presented the journal, fake leases, my stalker file, the threatening text, and Brewhaven photos. Linda claimed I planted the journal and met Gerald for housing advice. Judge Clara Evans, a no-nonsense woman, wasn't buying it. After a recess, she ruled, MS. Carver's story is inconsistent and unsupported. The evidence journal, text, photo shows a deliberate fraud. I deny her tenant claim, rescind the temporary order, and issue a restraining order. Mr. Thompson regains full property rights. This matter is referred to the DA for criminal investigation. Linda's mask slipped, shouting about bias until Evans threatened contempt. Outside, Gerald waited, glaring. You'll regret this, he whispered. Patel recorded it. Keep talking, she said. Sheriffs supervised Linda's removal that afternoon. She left silently, hatred in her eyes. Detective Lisa Carter called later. We're investigating Mercer and Carver for fraud and extortion. You're not their first victim, but your evidence is the strongest. Weeks later, I worked with Carter's team, identifying accomplices. Their scam targeted lone homeowners' widows, minorities, frequent travelers extorting $10,000 to $50,000 from 14 victims. 3 months post-hearing, Carter nabbed Gerald at a diner and Linda at a hideout. Their cars held lockpicks, fake leases, and a ledger of targets, including me. Both were charged with fraud, stalking, and conspiracy. Bail was denied. At their trial, I testified alongside victims like Ellen Ruiz, a nurse who paid $20,000, and Tom Harper, a retiree who lost his cabin. The jury convicted them in hours. Gerald got 10 years, Linda 7, plus restitution. Outside, Carter hugged me. Your fight stopped them. My story hit the news, sparking calls from victims nationwide. Patel and I started workshops on squatter defense, teaching security and legal navigation. I gutted my basement, turning it into a rec room. A year later, Carter said Linda was cooperating, exposing other rings. Knowing I'd turned their scheme against them felt like victory. Tonight, grilling in my backyard with neighbors, I'm home, truly home. Linda and Gerald thought I'd cave. They didn't count on my fight, my community, or the justice we built. Sometimes, the best revenge is reclaiming what's yours.